My fellow the panelists and the dear participants to this summit, I want to take this opportunity to appreciate Human Capital International for inviting us, especially inviting us as URA, and for me in particular as an individual, to be part of this engagement. The topic we are going to share will be focused on regional tax and tariff implication of the agribusinesses and SMEs within the African Continental Free Trade Area. Like I've already been introduced, I'm called Dr. Okaka Geoffrey, and I'll be taking you through this interaction. I'll give highlights because to provoke maybe the further discussions. I understand I've been given about 10 to 15 minutes, and I would say it's little time, so what I can do is to provoke our discussion. That's a brief outline. I'll start with the reflecting on, I want us to reflect on a few quotes as one. The Kenya President, His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, passionately put it, there cannot be a good reason why it's easier for us to trade with Asia, Europe, and Americas rather than with fellow Africans. The second one, which I also want us to reflect on, the CFTA, now called the African Continental Free Trade Area, is critical not only for its potential benefits, but also to mitigate the costs associated with inaction. The implication of this that is whether as Africa not acting is not an option. And therefore, we must act, and we're in the right direction that we are now implementing the African Continental Free Trade Area. From our very own, the Uganda President, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, he remarked many years ago to the Pan-African Parliament that a business cannot substantially produce if somebody does not buy what business produces. Therefore, the market is the greatest stimulus for production. And right now, we have an opportunity that African Continental Free Trade Area is opening markets 1.2 billion people and a GDP of over $3 million USA dollars. That's $1 trillion, $3 USA trillion dollars. That's a great opportunity for us to trade. The African Continental Free Trade Area is a trade area founded in 2018, with trade commencing as of January this year, 2021. And this provides a platform for us, provides a platform where, what I'm saying, this agreement provides a platform where we maintain little or no barrier to trade in form of tariff or quotas between each other that the state parties, as the agreement specifies. Looking at the framework in relation to the topic, I will focus basically on one of the protocols, and that is the protocol on trade in goods. This protocol focuses on the progressive elimination of tariff according to the agreed modalities. The agribusiness, or the SMEs, plays an important role in the economies of Africa. Just looking at the number alone, that it employs 80%, looking at the employment portfolios that we have in Africa, up to 80% of Africa employment is taken over by SMEs or the agribusiness as a sector. And this contributes to up to 50% of its GDP. In reality, what it means is that when we are talking about 3 trillion as GDP, this sector alone, it means we are looking at 1.5 trillion. We need to focus. There is no way we can ignore this sector. My discussion will be centered around the regional tax and tariff implications, and I look at the aspect of tariff liberation modalities. I will also look at the aspect of the rules of origin, and then look at the continental, national, and regional initiative that supports agribusinesses and SMEs development. One of the aspects we are looking at is the tariff liberation modalities. It gives us 3 categories. From the protocol, we have 3 tariff offers, and the category A, the 90%, category B, the 7% for the sensitive goods, category 3, the exclusion list. So the 90%, the implication of the 90% for non-sensitive goods, those are the tariff offers that can start, we started implementing immediately, and we expect that within 5 years for non-least developed countries, they should be trading at 0 rate, free duty. And for the LDCs, where we belong, this means that we would be accessing this market at duty-free in the next 10 years. So the difference is on the sensitive goods will take a longer time. 10 years for LDCs, non-LDCs, and 13 years for LDCs. And likewise, the excluded one, what means is that we shall open up after 5 years of the implementation of the agreement, which means from 2026, that's when we can again look at this, and possibly we graduate them to those other areas. The state parties have to negotiate these tariff offers. And these tariff offers are available. Like for us in ESC, when we were negotiating in this agreement, we went in as ESC, and therefore the existing tariff offers the tariff, the common external tariff with a custom union is what we presented as our tariff offers at the African Continental Free Trade Area. The next is looking at what would support these tariff offers what operates the liberation of the tariff The rules of origin is very, very important to operationalize the aspect of the aspect of the tariff offers within the framework. It's important to note that preferential trade liberation is the underlying principle of free trade area whereby member states or member countries scrap the import tariffs and quota among themselves, and more of this in order to have a competitive advantage within the free trade area. Then the third aspect is to look now at the national, continental, national, and regional initiative. It's important to note that as we are implementing this African Continental Free Trade Area, the national plans or the regional actions in support of the agribusiness and SMEs will be very important for this to realize its goal and objectives. For instance, looking at the government of Uganda under the NDP 3, National Development Plan 3, most economies looks at agribusiness as SMEs as very, very crucial for socio-economic transformation of our economies. And therefore, you'll find that there are tariff offers or tariff, the tax incentives within the framework of ESC, because especially looking at the agriculture sector as a key aspect in facilitating trade within these sectors. The other aspect that is also within the African Continental Free Trade Area, the initiative that is supported directly under African Continental Free Trade Area, is the Agriculture Development Program, CADAP, which is also supported by African Continental Free Trade Area. Now, I want to draw us to the regional perspective, the ESC, the tariff structure that we used to negotiate within the African Continental Free Trade Area, and the tax incentives thereof. Within the ESC structure, we have a triple band structure where raw material and capital goods are zero rated, the intermediate goods are at 10%, and the final goods are 25%. Then we have the exception, the sensitive list. So the implication that what we have in the sensitive list in ESC is what actually we offered at the African Continental Free Trade Area. Then we have the duty remission scheme, where there is waiver of duty for all refrainment from exacting of duty on gazetted inputs imported by gazetted users or the manufacturers. As ESC, when you look at the tariff liberation modalities, we said we are going to take a period of time. Starting this year, 25, and over 10 years in the case of Uganda. Therefore, it means right now we cannot benefit from the tax incentive or free duty within the African Continental Free Trade framework. And therefore, I want now to draw us that we can benefit already immediately from what we already, as a custom union within the ESC, where we are already operating a custom union, And looking at the regional integration, the regional economic communities within Africa, we have quite a number, and the EAC Custom Union is one of the advanced stage. Even when I talk about African Continental Free Trade Area, that's the dream. We want to be able to create a custom union, an African custom union in the near future. But as EAC, we're already in an advanced stage of a custom union, where it means we have a common external tariff, and therefore we can benefit. You'll find that within the EAC custom union, it affords to agriculture sector and agribusinesses quite a number of benefits or exemptions. I'll just scan through a few. You'll look at them. Looking at the items within that, the hoes, the plows, all those are within the national laws. They are exempted from VAT, then exempted under the 5th schedule of the East African Custom Management Act. There are quite a number. I'll just scroll through. You look at some of them. The agricultural tractors, the veterinary chemicals, the cans for dairy industry, the insulated trucks, tankers, all these, the cold room, the poultry product, the stock, all these are exempted within EAC. And what means that this is also what we have presented within the African Continental Free Trade Area. That is also the offers, the tariff offers that we have presented, and we expect that we shall continue enjoying this. So, what are the implications, or tariff in terms of tariff and tax implications? One, we see that the significant reduction in tariff and the cost of trade would lower import prices and increase the purchasing power of consumers. Likewise, the removal of trade barriers and quotas allows consumers to access a greater range of products in domestic markets. The cheaper it is to export, the more will companies engage in cross-border trade. So lowering the cost stimulates the domestic and international economy by increasing consumption. Diminishing import prices may also reduce cost of imported raw material and intermediate inputs for the downstream producers. The cuts in production costs, therefore, increases competitiveness in the domestic producers. Trade liberation also allows domestic farms to access bigger markets and gain from economies of scale. These economies of scale might nevertheless bring up new challenges, because when large companies benefit from economies of scale, it could put the company in a dominant position and become very difficult for the SMEs to penetrate the market. Trade liberation may also increase the African companies' competitiveness and efficiency. In this, the competitive pressures require firms to be more efficient in the use of their resources, to increase their investment in research and development. And this will spur aspect of new technologies or production methods and the avenue to innovate. Stronger competition among countries and companies will stimulate innovation, workers' efficiency, and the development of the new technologies. As I go into concluding, the African Continental Free Trade Area will also facilitate the process of importing raw material from African countries and encourage multinationals to partner with the local farms to trade in raw materials. However, there are some challenges when we look at that may be faced with agribusiness and SMEs and the other sectors. The level of information flow to the agribusinesses and SMEs needs to be enhanced to create awareness. Coupled with the conflicting rates, you realize that within the Africa, the arrangement, we have different regional economic communities, and like a case like Uganda, we belong to ESC, at the same time we belong to COMESA. And they have different tariff offers available. What we are looking at is that all these should be compatible with the framework that is being advanced at African Continental Free Trade Area. Likewise, we also have various commitments at WTO, that World Trade Organization commitments, by unilateral, bilateral, multilateral commitments. These existing trade agreements should act as the building blocks of the African Continental Free Trade Area. Then the other aspect that we also have different standards and certifications. These standards also need to be harmonized. So reducing tariff alone is not sufficient, in that member states need to implement trade facilitation policies, look at the non-tariff barriers, and investment in infrastructure, and improve standard harmonization. It's very, very important. The African Continental Free Trade Area indeed provides a very attractive platform for boosting inter-Africa trade in the area of agribusinesses, where SMEs are key players. Like I was already alluded to this, that the African economies, most of them are agro-based, employing 80% and contributing 50% of its GDP. The tax and tariff implications show that there are benefits that will accrue from tariff liberation, resulting into duty-free and quota-free market access. The challenges, however, still needs to be overcome, especially on the aspect of when you look at the global chain, the global chain at the global chain, the aspect of competitiveness and connectivity is still a challenge to us, especially looking at the connectivity in terms of the infrastructure at the cross-border trade, and then the aspect of the digital platform. We're able to communicate with one state party to another through our borders. That digital connectivity, the administrations and all the agencies within the cross-border, in order to facilitate trade. So what it means that effort must be directed towards stimulating linkages in the international value chain and access to affordable financing, among others. And therefore, with the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area, the volume of value of the inter-Africa trade in goods is expected to increase, and we expect a lot of benefits and a good market for us, because we're talking about a market of 1.2 billion people. We are talking about a GDP of about 3 trillion, which is available for us. It's a great opportunity for the sector to explore, and for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Okaka.